Good morning, everybody. This is Ken Lorenz from Riva CRM Integration. We're going to go ahead and get started on our session this morning. First of all, I want to thank everybody for coming in and attending. I hope everybody had a great time in Chicago with Social Connections. I believe I had a chance to meet with some of you, but for those that I didn't have a chance to meet at our booth or in our session, welcome and glad to have you on board. We'll be recording this morning's session. There are people that requested a replay, and we always like to record these anyway. So we'll have that for replay as well. With that, I think we'll go ahead and get started. Just one logistical item. During the course of the session, if you've got questions, feel free to use the question chat box to post your questions. And we'll go ahead and try to either answer those as we go in the chat session, or we'll take a short Q&A at the end. So let's go ahead and get started. So why is CRM such a big topic? I think everybody's thinking about CRM. Well, we're in the age of the customer. I kind of chuckle at that a little bit and wonder, gosh, when have we not been in the age of the customer, right? We always want to do a great job. But the reality is, today, the customer has so many tools available to them to help understand what products and services you offer, learn more about your company, and frankly, learn a lot more about us than we have the opportunity to learn about them before they ever engage. Once they do engage, it's important that as an organization, we're able to centralize and see all of that information about a customer and be able to react to that, right? I mean, I'm sure everybody on the phone has had a situation where you've done business with somebody, and in doing business with them, somebody in the organization gets to know you, but then you got to tell your whole story over again to the next person you talk to. And no matter what kind of business you're in, ultimately, having a clear understanding is critical to good customer service and building loyalty. That includes thinking about things like social selling and other tools that are out there. And ultimately, the value in CRM is helping customer-facing individuals be able to connect the dots. And we'll talk more about that. So what's the problem, right? I mean, if CRM is this fantastic tool that allows us to get that view of the customer, why is it that we have problems and CRM is not one view of the truth? Well, the reality is we don't always live in our CRM systems. We're mobile, we're social, we're on the road. I know personally, the first application I open every day on my desktop is my email, not my CRM. I think as good as CRM has gotten, and it'll continue to improve, you still have that platform, that collaboration platform of interaction that's always going on. And the reality is, as much as we can use tools like Slack and others, to communicate internally about projects and sales opportunities and things that we're working on, typically our interactions with our customers are still in email, and we're still scheduling appointments in our calendars, sending those appointments out to our customers and our prospective customers. And so we're not getting away from our collaboration platform, and that's really where a lot of things live. Frankly, sometimes, and I'll say this about myself from time to time, we're lazy, right? I mean, if you're having an interaction with a customer over email, how often does that content really get into your CRM system so everybody in the company can see what's going on? Sometimes the tools that have been out there just haven't been that good, and they're a little bit quirky, or they're a little bit cumbersome to use. And so, people want to maximize their time and be able to, invest their time where it's important, in feeling like archiving information or transposing information over into the CRM system is kind of a waste of time. Ultimately, it destroys that concept of having one view of the truth. So how do we go about solving this problem? Well, the way that we look at it from a Riva perspective is that, number one, it's all about synchronizing the interactions that are going on between your collaboration platform, i.e., let's say Lotus Notes, and your CRM system. And in order for that to work and work well, in our minds, three things need to occur. Number one, it needs to be easy to use. Number two, it needs to be scalable. And number three, it needs to be flexible. And we'll talk about those things. But we think it needs to go even further, right? So if part of the premise is we live our lives in our email and calendar, then let's make it easy to connect those customer dots, if you will, and start to surface insights about our relationships and do it in a way where we live in our email platform. So little paid advertisement about Riva. So we got into this business back in 2008 because we were frustrated internally with the integration that existed between email systems and CRM. And essentially we made the decision that we were going to solve this problem for many customers, not just ourselves, and really overcome those challenges of integration between CRM and email systems. And so our goal, and we feel like we've achieved this, but we continue to improve upon it, is to deliver the world's best server-side integration platform for CRM and email systems. And ultimately, by delivering on that promise, we're increasing CRM adoption and success through CRM integration that, frankly, is much more reliable, scalable, and more secure. And we allow everybody to be able to reap those benefits of that synchronization, no matter what device or application they're using to collaborate with. So how are we doing at this? So 8 years later, there are a little bit north of 1,500 companies worldwide that are using our technology. That's roughly across 150,000 users that are syncing their email and CRM systems. Just to give you an idea of scale, one of our customers has 30,000 employees that are synchronizing their calendars every day using our technology. From a customer standpoint, we've got customers across all industries and all sizes, but we do tend to see some real success, specifically in banking and in Fortune 500 companies, especially in situations like with banks, where archiving those conversations isn't just nice to have and great to help with, our relationships with our customers, but it becomes an actual compliance issue. So we're doing extremely well and continuing to grow. So what's our secret sauce? What did we do differently that makes us different and unique and provides that scalable, reliable, flexible, easy to use system? So we developed what we call a server-side integration. All that really means is the process that it talks to CRM and talks to the email platform either resides in the cloud or potentially on one of your boxes in your infrastructure. And it's talking to CRM and it's talking to the email at the server level. So we're not having to physically install anything on everybody's desktop. That's the way it used to be done. And frankly, it's not a great way to do it. We make it super easy, so that once you implement our server-side integration, that flow of data between the two systems becomes seamless and very simple. And because we've done it at a server level, for folks that are using IBM Notes and Domino, all of these front ends are supported by default because of the way that we do this. So whether you're using IBM Notes, you're using Verse, you're using Traveler, you're using your iPhone, your iPad, an Android device with the native mail applications. I didn't even put it on here, but we've got folks that are using Outlook to front-end Domino databases, and it works in Outlook as well. So ultimately, we're living up to that promise of making it easy to extend this integration, no matter what front end or device the users are actually using. So what do we actually do? I apologize, this is a little bit of an eye chart, but when you think about what data and what information would you want to synchronize between your CRM system and IBM Notes, you're going to think about the typical things, right? Contacts, appointments, emails, tasks, all things that typically live on the IBM Notes side of the world. But we actually take it a step further and start to surface data that lives in CRM, things like opportunities and cases and other custom objects that you might create in your CRM system, and actually start to surface those into the Notes platform, making it easier for you to do your job and do it where you live, typically within your email system. So a couple of screenshots just to give you an idea of what this looks like. So in a Verse environment or a Notes environment, what we do is we create some specific folders, things like create new emails and cases and opportunities. And if I want to go ahead and sync an email with CRM, all I have to do is take this email and drop it into the create new email folder. And then our sync process picks it up, processes it, and puts it back into my inbox to deal with. Same thing with contacts. So if I've got a contact sitting in Notes, all I have to do is categorize it as CRM. It's a category we create automatically. You add that to that category, and that contact will now synchronize back over to my CRM system. Calendar items work the exact same way. All I have to do is simply categorize the calendar item, and that'll synchronize back over into my CRM system. Again, simply just categorizing the appointment allows that to move over. And here you can see, my calendar synchronizing back and forth with my CRM system. We also do tasks, same concept. We use categories to synchronize those, so those tasks end up showing up back over in my CRM system. If I want to, sync contacts and accounts, when I take this email as an example from Anil Anderson, and I drop it into my create new email folder, one of the rules that we have sitting in the background is it looks to see if Anil exists in our CRM system based on his email address. If he doesn't exist, Riva will actually go and create the contact record based on that email address. And if the account doesn't exist, it'll create the account record, as much of it as it can, obviously, around that domain, so that those things are already there in CRM, making life a little bit easier for me. Again, it's just as simple in Notes as it was in Verse to take that email and drop it in and have it create the contacts. Same thing with opportunities. If I click on the opportunities bar or folder, I'm able to see the details of my opportunities coming over from CRM. Again, making it easy in this case in Verse for me to see that. Again, same thing in Lotus Notes, seeing the actual opportunity data. And then the other thing that we do is we have the ability to create new objects, if you will, within CRM. So let's say I get this email from Anil. He wants a quote for 255 users. I don't have an opportunity set up yet in CRM. Normally, I'd have to go flip over to CRM, create the opportunity. We don't have to do that here. All we have to do is take that email, drop it into create new opportunity, and it'll take that email and the data that it can find, and it will start to create the CRM opportunity record for me. Of course, at some point, I want to go into CRM and fill that out further. But it makes it certainly a lot easier to remember to create those opportunities and start synchronizing emails, etc. And again, same thing here using Lotus Notes, same concept. And last but not least, if you're on the services side, syncing cases works the same way. So I can see my case data, in this case in Verse, does the exact same thing in terms of creating a new case. So I get an email from Anil, they've got a problem with a laptop. I can drop that in to create a new case, and we're off to the races. So let's talk about connecting the dots, right? So that's the second part of this is, it's great that now I'm synchronizing all of that information back and forth between CRM and my email platform. But I want to go a step further. I want to learn more about a particular customer or a particular contact and have that information ready for me at my fingertips without having to, dig into a lot of different systems to figure out where that information is. So we have a product called Riva Insight. In this case, I'm showing it in a Lotus Notes environment. Riva Insight creates this sidebar panel so that while I am sitting on a record from Abe Alexson, I can see information about Abe and about his company, right here in the sidebar. So this information, this contact info is coming directly from CRM. If I had other interactions or other people in the company, if I had interactions or meetings with Abe, I can see those listed here. And then there's other public data sources that we link to. So things like Google Maps and Wikipedia and Google News, and those are all great public sources of data, again, with one click to relevance. But we take it even a step further. So we've embedded Inside View into Riva Insights. So if in this case, I'm talking to Praveen, he works for SAP, I want to learn more about SAP. And this information is actually being pushed to me or surfaced to me directly from Inside View. And I can go pretty far with this integration of even creating contacts that exist in Inside View and moving them into CRM. So let's go another step further. You know, again, thinking about calendar items, you know, I want to see all the meetings that are going on, you know, with a given contact, with Abe in this case, so I can see that. But, you know, again, we've got a lot of different systems out there, so let's bring it all into one place. So as an example, we have something called Riva for Marketo. Marketo is a marketing automation system, a pretty popular one on the market. If we're using Marketo and I'm looking at a contact record or an account, and I want to see what Marketo considers interesting moments, i.e. Places where this contact has interacted in our website or opened emails, etc. I've got this icon right here on Rick Shapiro that I can click, and I can see all the interactions from Marketo that we've had with Rick. A lot of businesses have, I won't call it route sales, but you've got account managers that are out in the field visiting with customers. And sure, we could do a simple Google map, but we've created an integration with a company called Matrix Place and Badger Maps, so that I can look at not only where is Samsung located, but potentially where are other customers that I might want to visit along the way, or if my meeting runs short or runs long, that I can go out and visit. Another integration that we have is with a company called TrustSphere. If you're not familiar with TrustSphere, they have a relationship analytics solution. What they do is they look at the interactions that people in your company have with a target company that maybe you want to build a relationship with. So in this example, I'm trying to get to Rick Shapiro over at LGE Energy. And what I want to do is I want to know who else in my organization would help me get there. Now, the first thing you might be thinking is, well, gosh, I'd just go to LinkedIn and see who's connected to LGE Energy within my company. And that certainly is a method that you could use. What we've typically found is that, and I'm certainly guilty of this, I've got probably 2,500 or more contact connections on LinkedIn. I don't know every one of them personally, right? I've accepted some invitations, or maybe I accepted an invitation when I first met somebody and then I haven't spoken to them in years. So LinkedIn can be good, but what TrustSphere does is by looking at how often and how quickly people respond to each other, we can determine where the strength of the relationship is. So in this case, Links Within is showing me that Deborah and Scott may be ideal people for me to reach out to within my company to help connect me to Rick Shapiro. And definitely invite you to learn more about TrustSphere. They're one of our favorite partners, and they do a fantastic job. And last but not least, as far as our integrated partners, we've got a relationship with a company called OpenTopic, and OpenTopic provides cognitive insights around different characteristics and things that are going on with a relationship. And instead of me talking about this, I actually am going to turn this over to Andre Koenig, who is the co-founder of OpenTopic, to talk a little bit about what they're doing. Andre, over to you.
Thank you so much, Ken. And as you noted, it's impossible to personally know all your LinkedIn contacts or personally understand visitors to your digital properties, your customers and users. And that's what we at OpenTopic try to help with. So we're all about insights and personalization. Excited to be working with you and appreciate the invitation. My name is Andre Koenig. I'm the co-founder of OpenTopic, and what we at OpenTopic did is look at all of this data. And you see this chart here, you've certainly seen some of these numbers. There's a ton of data being generated, and there's a ton of data out there on different social channels, email, messaging platforms, and web, obviously. And that's a tremendous diversity of data and volume of data, complexity of data, that is pretty much impossible to understand as a human. And on the next slide, as we looked at this, you see that a lot of this data is really not in the public eye, but in the private eye. And Ken, if you can skip to the next slide, please. A lot of this data really has only very recently been created, and you certainly heard some of these numbers. The volume of data is a very recent phenomenon, and a lot of this data is in private hands. It sits in your email, which is what Riva is helping with, but it also sits in your content management system, in your CRM, in your ERP, in your DMP, and all these different systems that you have internally. And this data is highly complex. It's unstructured data. 80% is the argument here in this study, which makes it very, very difficult to understand. So if you're a marketer or a salesperson trying to understand a customer, trying to understand a relationship, a network, or trying to understand a user, a visitor, to market something to them, to sell something to them, or to run a campaign to create engagement, awareness, position your brand, it becomes really difficult due to this volume, complexity, and diversity of data. If we go to the next slide, please, Ken. That is where we, with Open Topic, help. And a little cartoon here. This is certainly something that we've been guilty at, and marketers, salespeople too, do this very well, trying to put us into boxes, right? Do I know you already? Do I know your gender? Do I know your demographic? Do I know your age? Do I know what you've looked at before? Do I know what you've bought before? And then it's easy, right? I just need to present you with the right video, the right copy, the right color on my subscribe or purchase button, and easy breezy, I'll have a new customer and a happy client. But that's not the case. This lady here really was just looking for some help and advice. And the point of all of that is we didn't really understand her. We didn't take the time to understand her, to understand the data that we have on her in our internal systems. We didn't take the time to understand her externally, her previous touch points. In this example, she probably spoke to somebody else in the store already and asked for the same information. And it's difficult to take that time because, as we saw in the previous two slides, this data is new. It's extremely high volume, it's fast moving, and it's complex. So if we go to the next slide, please. That's why we need technology to help solve this problem, right? And as an IBM Watson partner and an IBM business partner, we're fortunate to be able to call on IBM Watson and what we think is the best cognitive system out there to do all of this. A system that learns, a system that reasons, and a system that interacts. Learning to, how do we connect these data sources? And that's part of our partnership with Riva. Email is a treasure trove of data that most people don't understand, especially if you look at it across an organization. Maybe somebody in your European office already spoke with this lady that needed advice to become a happy customer. You're just not aware of it. Or maybe you actually knew something about her behavior already, you just forgot about it or failed to read in between the lines. And these cognitive systems can do that. They can learn the data, they can structure it, they can start to reason on it. They can see patterns, they can identify trends, they can read in between the lines. That technology exists. And increasingly, they also afford the opportunity to interact with it. So it's not just a passive system that pushes data analytics on you. It becomes an interactive system that you can talk to, with your fingers on a keyboard, but also with voice, with gestures, with interactions, and actually ask for help, and in consequence, better and better understand your customers, prospects, or users. So if we go to the next slide, that is what we do, and our product Sia, and you see we have an avatar to it, going with the IBM Watson best practices. We try to productize this in a very easy to use package and platform. It's a SaaS cloud product that allows sales and marketing folks to achieve all of this. Connect your data sources, external or internal, depending on your use case. Use Riva if you want to understand your CRM and your email data. Use other partners or service providers to connect other data sources and run some of these cognitive insights. How does a person feel? What's their personality profile? What relationships does that person have with other brands, other products? What are the influences behind the decisions that motivate this person? And that's why it's called cognitive, a human-like understanding of the data that drives decision-making and purchasing decisions for a user. We deliver this in this cloud-based user interface. You saw a screenshot in the Riva product. Totally agree with what Ken said earlier. It all has to be in one place. The customer doesn't like to jump around from platform to solution to tool. We need to integrate, we need to build ecosystems, and we need to work together. So we're very excited to bring this platform into the Riva Insights tool. And if you go to the next slide, please. The interaction aspect of it, we also provide as a conversational user interface. Here you see an integration with IBM Workspace. We also integrated with IBM Connections, many other messaging collaboration platforms, where you can simply ask, and you see my co-founder and friend Christian York here, who is asking for insights about the Deutsche Bank, I believe. And it's very easy. So you're working on a pitch, you're trying to create a campaign, you want to come up with the next story for a project that you're working on, to hopefully convert somebody to a happy customer. This is the best and easiest way to understand this highly complex, fast-moving, high-volume data and read in between the lines, start to get a cognitive understanding of the data to better achieve your sales and marketing goals. Last slide, and we'll leave it at that. We're successful at this across 3 continents, based in New York, North America, very widely distributed across industry verticals, with a lot of traction in Germany and Asia. Since this unstructured data is mostly agnostic to cultures, to languages, this is a solution that can be easily implemented with all of your clients. And with that, back to you, Ken.
Fantastic. Thank you, Andre. That was a great overview. And we certainly appreciate the partnership that we've got with Open Topic, and looking forward to helping our customers be experts with their customers. So with that said, from a Riva perspective, we've got a number of different resources that you can leverage to get more information about our products and our platform. This presentation will be made available at the end, as well as the recording. So don't worry about trying to write down those links. We can get that out to you. And ultimately, what's Riva really doing? It's helping you with CRM adoption. It's helping you become a customer expert. Ultimately, it's helping you connect those dots. So with that said, I'm going to go ahead and open it up and see if we've got any questions in the chat window, and/or I'm going to attempt to open up the audio lines. And I always have a struggle with that, of opening that up. So I'm going to go ahead and just say, if anybody has any questions, go ahead and put them in the question and answer box. I don't have any at this point. I will give it one more minute here. And if not, we'll go ahead and bring this session today to a close. Okay, we have no questions. That's okay. We greatly appreciate your time this morning and this afternoon. We hope this was informative for you. If we can be of further assistance, we'd love to have a conversation with you on how these technologies and platforms can really help you become, insightful about your customers. With that said, Andre, thank you very much. Everybody have a great day.